So since fitness is so popular now, and so many people have access to cameras and YouTube and TikTok, there's a lot of nonsense going on out there. And there's one individual that I've been following that he's given some really poor advice. So I'm going to go over the video that he posted on whether or not you should take your elbows off the pads while doing a preacher curl. His reasoning and his explanation is wrong. So let's take a look at the video.
Why are you bringing your elbows off the pad? So if I were to keep my elbows on the pad, my arms just wouldn't be able to go nearly as high as they could, and I would be significantly limiting the contraction by skipping the top half of the movement.
So he claims that by not bringing his arms up nearly as high as they could and skipping the other half of the movement, that would limit the growth of his biceps. Well, this is simply untrue because reaching a fully concentric position has no effect on how many motor units are recruited. Therefore, how many motor units are stimulated and how many motor units will adapt and grow in size. Research has shown that actually a very little range of motion is necessary to train any muscle group, including the biceps. Let's see what else he says.
Full range of motion is super important on this machine because the resistance actually acts forward as opposed to straight down due to gravity, which is the case for all dumbbell or barbell bicep curls. So lifting your elbows up allows you to squeeze your biceps at the top under maximal tension for a full contraction, and again, you just wouldn't be able to do this with dumbbells or a barbell because the resistance acts in line with gravity, which means there's no tension at the very top.
So his reasoning is that you want to be able to create more tension in active insufficiency, or the fully concentric phase of the range of motion. Again, this is wrong. You actually want the opposite of that to occur, because due to the actin and myosin overlap, the amount of force or tension a muscle can produce throughout its range of motion varies. If you're in the extended position, you have minimal actin and myosin overlap, which produces minimal contractile force. In the middle, you have the most, which means you're going to produce maximum contractile force. This is where you want to load the biceps at about 90 degrees of elbow flexion, where the actin and myosin produce the most overlap and the most contractile force. Now, reaching the fully concentric position, you have what's called excessive actin-myosin overlap, where they start to bunch up and get in each other's way, which means they cannot produce nearly as much tension. So you actually want a machine that drops off in resistance at the top. The complete opposite of what this guy is saying, and he is recommending you lift your elbows up off the pad in order to contract and add tension to the upper part of the range of motion, when in reality, based on the physiology of the actin and myosin sliding filament model, you want to do the exact opposite of that. A standing barbell curl or a biceps curl actually mimics the strength curve, the resistance curve of that exercise, follows almost exactly the strength curve of your muscle group. You're going to get very little tension at the bottom, where you're in a lengthened position with minimal actin and myosin overlap. You're going to get the most resistance at 90 degrees due to gravity, like what he said, where you're getting optimal actin and myosin overlap. And then again, when you come up, due to a shorter moment arm, less tension on the biceps with excessive actin and myosin overlap. This is actually going to be a more effective way to train, in the complete opposite of the advice this individual is giving. So be careful of which fitness influencers you follow, because some of them may appear to know what they're talking about by using fancy words, but in reality have absolutely no idea what they're talking about.